heart of Afghanistan on a personal quest, searching for the greatest lost treasure in human history. It's the treasure of Ahmed Shah Durrani, and it's valued in today's currency at $500 billion. I'm following clues passed down to me through my own Afghan ancestry. They point to an ancient cave complex lost somewhere in the mountains near Bamiyan. Traveling through Afghanistan is an arduous experience at the best of times. These days, with Taliban positions all around, it's just about the most dangerous place on earth.
I've just read a long report on Reuters what happened to the Germans. But remember, you guys got shot at last time, and where was that? It was exactly there. Where did the Germans get killed? Exactly there. When was that? It was 2 days ago.
The chance of locating the immense treasure helps me put up with the ever-present danger.
Oh my God! Look at this! I mean, what I'm feeling is, if Ahmed Shah Durrani hid the treasure in a place like this, you can imagine it. You can imagine it.
As a travel writer, nothing gets the blood rushing through my veins like the prospect of a quest. I have studied magic with the godmen of India and scoured Ethiopia for the famous gold mines of King Solomon. I have traveled through the upper Amazon on the trail of a head-shrinking tribe, and after that, I trekked through the cloud forest of Peru in search of Paititi, the great lost city of the Incas. I was born in England, though my ancestors originate from the mountain strongholds of Afghanistan, where they have been warlords, statesmen, and princes since the 9th century. Searching for the hoard of Ahmed Shah has been a thread running through my family for a century and a half. The search for Ahmed Shah's treasure is really a preoccupation for the part of my family, the branch, which left Afghanistan in 1842 with Janfar Khan when they went to India. As a child, my father told and retold a story that haunted my dreams, and I tell it to my own children now. A man in an iron mask forcing an army of slaves to load thousands of sacks of gold into a cave. The man in the mask was Ahmed Shah Durrani, the first king of Afghanistan, and his massive treasure was stolen from Mughal India. The Afghan Ahmed Shah Durrani was a young general in the service of the Persian emperor who sacked Delhi in 1739. The vast treasury of Mughal India was forced open and its contents loaded onto a colossal caravan of horses, camels, and elephants. The famous Koh-i-Noor diamond was one of many treasures the Persian emperor took away, but he didn't live to appreciate it for long. He fell victim to an assassination plot. Ahmed Shah Durrani took the diamond from the emperor's still warm chest and escaped with his men back to Afghanistan, taking the treasure caravan with him. Durrani was crowned first king of Afghanistan in 1747 by the saintly Sabir Shah. The Koh-i-Noor diamond, the only known relic originating from the initial Mughal treasure, remained in Afghanistan until the early 19th century. Today it's in the Tower of London, among Her Majesty's crown jewels. The rest of the legendary treasure is still hidden in caves somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan. I knew that the treasure of Ahmed Shah Durrani was very important in our family, and certainly I know that my father searched for it. But when I was only 13, the Afghan Mujahideen started their struggle against the invading Soviet army. When the US Army crushed the Taliban 5 years ago, I found an invaluable aid in my mission to find the gold of Ahmed Shah. I was going through a lot of my grandfather's papers, which I had inherited, but only had time to read once he moved here. Then I found this notebook. It was a compilation of notes from my grandfather's own journeys in Afghanistan, searching for the treasure over 70 years ago. It was full of cryptic clues and secret codes. This accumulated information has been left in this notebook, in this box file, with all my father's papers, for a particular reason, for me to happen upon it and to start a search of my own. In the last year, I've been waiting for conditions to improve, but every day, Afghanistan slides a little further into anarchy. The Taliban are gaining ground, slaughtering American and British soldiers every month. I've decided to take the plunge and go in search of the treasure now. However unstable the situation, it may be the last window of opportunity in my lifetime.
This is the anthrop.
My first daunting steps on Afghan soil take me straight back into the dream world of stories I heard again and again as a child. The women in burqas and the traders of anything from sheep's heads to magic charms are conjured from a world that's straight out of the Arabian Nights.
A drop of blood in oil.
Despite the danger, everyone seems to be getting on with life. I guess they have no other choice. The place I had to see was the notorious stadium, which the Taliban converted into an execution ground. They put to death thousands of innocent Afghans here, including dozens of women who, they claimed, had been adulterous.
Are they playing football here?
Yeah.
Car would drive in through here and bring the person who was supposedly a criminal, dragged out of the truck, make them kneel down, and a bullet to the head.
The Taliban's rule was so recent. Thank God some things have changed. To my delight, there's now a huge portrait of Ahmed Shah, the man whose treasure I'm searching for, hanging over the stadium stand.
He gets the independence.
He got independence from Afghanistan.
Okay. That's right.
But we heard that Ahmed Shah Durrani took from India a very big treasure.
Yeah.
And then we thought it would be good to find the treasure. Then we'd all be
I'm
rich.
looking too to find it.
With my feet on Afghan soil for no more than a day, it strikes me that searching for the treasure is at least part a euphemism for finding Afghanistan. The treasure has brought me home. But it's not all a bed of roses. Kabul's bureaucracy is rotten to the core, a layer of cultural debris left over from decades of war. I'm told that my search is illegal, and I'm threatened with arrest and even deportation. But luckily I tracked down an old family friend, an Afghan ambassador. He calls the governor of the northern Balkh province, and we're off. Following my grandfather's suggestion, I cover the 12-hour drive on war-torn roads and reach the governor's mansion in the middle of the night.
It was a good thing to get out of Kabul. I think the adventure's really beginning.
My apprehension at being surrounded by armed guards melted away when I was welcomed by the governor. I asked him about the treasure, but he didn't want to give anything away, although he seemed to know that the Koh-i-Noor diamond was in the British crown jewels. He assigned a couple of soldiers to escort me. I was going to need them, as the next stop was very sensitive. As I approached the great shrine of Ali in Mazar, the Friday prayer began. The pilgrims were chanting with great excitement.
In our family, there's a saying that the secret of the treasure of Ahmed Shah Durrani is kept in a shrine. And so, for me, coming to the shrine of Ali is a very, very obvious first step. There's a great belief in the Islamic world that geometric designs are numerical. They signify numbers, and that numbers signify letters.
My grandfather's notebook outlined the Abjad system, a code built on an alphanumeric sequence. Abjad can be used as a part of geometry, and also associated with it, the link, are the magic squares. By a simple process of multiplying the digits from 1 to 9 with each other, the square is filled with numbers. That's when the magic begins. If you connect all the ones, you get this form, and if you connect all the 8s, you get this. The figure 1 equals A, Aleph. The figure 8 equals H. The Abjad simplicity is misleading. It's a system of ciphers that can have innumerable levels. Learn to understand it, and you can interpret a design in all sorts of ways. It's a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack. My grandfather spent more than a week here. From the hexagonal patterns, he established the link between the Persian words for Durrani and for Buddha. The numerical values of these words mirror each other symmetrically. As a result of this, my grandfather's next destination was a Buddhist stupa near a place called Samangan. It's a few hours' drive south from here. I'm on my way again. 2,500 years ago, Afghanistan was Buddhist. The country was famed for its centers of Buddhist teaching. The priests hollowed out entire mountains and used them as sanctuaries. It's in one of the lost Buddhist monasteries that my grandfather thought the treasure still lay.
Samangan's king daughter has took place in this site. I like near to the truth. What is the truth? What is this place? No one has a clue.
If I can find caves, then I might be on the right track.
These look like steps carved in the stone going down, but I mean, maybe originally they had ladders. Assalamu alaikum. This guy's down here. Okay, he's going to show me. This whole thing was carved out of rock.
When you find a Buddhist center of worship like this, you'd expect to find a labyrinth of caves where the monks lived.
If this was where I don't know, the altar was, where the high priest was, maybe that's sort of the village where everyone lived. Oh my God! Oh, okay.
My heart was beating double its normal rate. What I found surpassed my wildest imagination.
If Ahmed Chandrani hid the treasure in a place like this, you can imagine it. You can imagine it. Sort of piled up here, the sacks. Look at this. You can just have sacks. Again, the treasure's probably not hidden here because it's all breached all over. Unless the treasure was here and then was found by someone. But this is exactly what I've got in mind. A huge gallery of arcades, tunnels like this. I mean, this is just carved out of a mountain. Unbelievable.
The monastic complex would have provided secure shelter for the Buddhist priesthood, just as it did the Afghan resistance who fought the Russians 20 years ago, and after them the Taliban. Now I've seen these vast cave systems do exist in the mountains of Afghanistan. How am I ever going to find the one in which Ahmed Shah hid his hoard? It's a month later and I'm back in Kabul. As usual, I can't resist prodding the taxi driver to see if he knows about the treasure.
Can you ask him where is the treasure?
It was as if the man had read my mind. I was actually planning to head for Herat next.
Come with us, we'll search for the treasure.
As I was walking around the capital's ancient Puli Christi bazaar, I strayed into the bird market. To my delight, I found a cage full of hoopoe birds.
Yeah, this is a very famous bird.
King Solomon regarded it as the wisest of all birds. Taking a hoopoe with me as a traveling companion seemed like an obvious thing to do.
The owner here, the man who owns the shop.
And the local folklore says that owning one will lead to wealth and good fortune. Maybe it could help.
Wait, I want to choose the one. Maybe the one at the door who's trying to get out. Can I look at him? Do they bite? No biting. Will he fly away? Everyone stay calm. It's a bad moment. Okay, everyone stay calm. Stay calm. Calm down. Everyone calm down.
The hoopoe bird was so lucky that it got away.
Okay, but he was holding it in his hand like it will never fly away. And now I want him to get one and not to hold it, to put it in the cage. Okay?
I was encouraged to see that the bird caught everyone's attention.
Everyone gets all excited and they say, Shona Sarak, or Hudhud, the hoopoe, the king of birds. And that's a great icebreaker. And if it's anything to go by, I think he'll prove to be a very, very great traveling companion indeed.
I would have preferred to go by road, but the highway going west from Kabul to Herat went straight through the Taliban homeland. My only option was to buy a ticket for the Hupo and go by air. As soon as we land in Herat, I make for the hill on the north side of the city. It's a vantage point from where you get a view over the 5 Timurid towers standing at Musalla.
My grandfather believed very strongly that the huge minarets here at Musalla in Herat was some kind of pointing device, some kind of primitive compass that showed the way to the treasure.
The gardener showed me the base of another tower.
You ask him where?
He says it collapsed about 20 years ago. When I pressured him, he let slip that there was a secret code connected with the towers. But he didn't know if the secret concerned the mosaic pattern on them or their arrangement. I spent hours trying to work out the meaning of the pattern, but it beats me. I'm going to ask the tile workers at the mosque if they have any answers. Herat's Friday Mosque boasts the oldest tile workshop in the world. I want to speak to its craftsmen to see if they can shed light on the meaning hidden in the patterns. But it was prayer day, and the workshop was closed. So I asked anyone I could find in the hope of picking up a fresh trail.
Does he think that in Afghanistan there is a treasure to be found somewhere in the mountains?
I was told that the treasure's location was a national secret and that it was forbidden to divulge national secrets to a foreigner. Then, in the mosque's central courtyard, I hit a vein of hostility. I was surrounded by armed guards and accused of trying to steal Afghan treasures.
He was really, really adamant that we must not film and that we were, in a way, kind of stealing Afghan secrets, and we had to leave immediately. So we didn't want to upset him more, so we to come back tomorrow.
In his youth, Ahmed Shah had been imprisoned here in Herat, in the great 13th century fortress, before being liberated by Nadir Shah, the Persian emperor. Also, it's very likely that the treasure caravan would have passed through here on its way towards Persia. In a tea house nearby, I asked about the treasure. Seeing the Hupo, a man remembered a story of a fool who was led to a treasure by such a bird. The moral was that the fool was too stupid to realize the value of the hoard, and he left it where it was.
So ask them again, does anyone want to come now to look for Ahmed Shah Durrani's gold? Or are they just going to sit here and play cards all afternoon? Because by night time we can all be millionaires. They're desperate to get back. Tell them thank you very much and for their stories, and we'll leave them to play cards.
The Hupo bird had a healthy appetite. Its diet consisted strictly of raw meat, but the bird had paid for its supper. He was my calling card, a way into asking people about the treasure. I took advantage of the great hospitality of Heratis, visiting tea houses and traipsing from one village to the next, where farmers told me they had found antiquities while ploughing their fields. I sought out nomads as well, had my fortune read, and even paid a visit to known caves, and I spotted the ruins of another of the towers. As I had expressed the strong ambition to find Ahmed Shah's gold, my interpreter suggested we go to the rolling shrine.
What happens is you think of your wish, and you lie down on this place, and you cover your face with your hands, and you really wish, and you wish, and you wish, and you wish, and you wish, and then suddenly you start rolling uncontrollably along in this yard.
The belief is that you will achieve your goal by the power of the saint buried there.
I'm still wishing. Here I go.
Okay guys, we're gonna find the treasure now.
Despite the risk of being arrested again, something spurred me to return to the tile workshop. It paid off, One of the old masters told me that he had heard of the treasure of Ahmed Shah. He took me onto the roof and said the tiled calligraphy was a key. I decided to ask him directly if he knew where the treasure lay and how the towers on the city's outskirts could help me in my search. To my surprise, he said the towers pointed to the valley of Bamiyan and that just before dusk, when the sun was in the west, the shadows cast by the towers pointed to the valley once famous for the giant statues of Buddha before the Taliban blew them up a few years ago. Bamiyan was only 300 miles away. But this is Afghanistan, and the safe route between 2 points is seldom a straight line. I'm back in Kabul. A suicide bomber blew himself up the morning I arrived, just across the street from where I'm staying. It's now Ramadan, and the Taliban have turned up the heat. Taliban leader made a video recently. He had a mask on his face, and he said, "We're going to destroy this entire road that the caravanserai, this hotel is on."
Did you hear the bomb this morning?
Yeah, I am.
Are you afraid?
No, I'm not afraid.
انفجار خب بود خب انفجار یک چیزی معمولی است دیگه در اینجا اینجا که اگه کابل انفجار نداشته باشه خب لندن میشه دیگه.
Yama is my new fixer. He introduced himself as a film producer, mujahid guerrilla fighter, buzkashi rider and a cook. He says his father is a warlord in the north.
When you start talking about ammunition and guns, they get all excited. Look at this guy.
He wants grenades. Grenades.
He even had a favorite catchphrase.
This is Afghanistan.
Yama said he had a friend who had all the answers, but getting to Yama's friend meant another 12-hour trek up to the north. On the way out of Kabul, we hit an ocean of gridlock traffic. It turns out that the traffic jam is caused by a demonstration of ex-mujahideen.
They handed in all their weapons.
They handed on. And the government, it's 2 years now, and the government hasn't paid anybody. And for that reason, his father has about 10,000 armed people.
12 دانه استینگر داریم، چقدر تانکا داریم، کلشو ندادیم به دولت. و هر روز که خواستیم علیه دولت شروع میکنیم.
Okay.
No one's moving, so if there's a big explosion right now, I mean, maybe come in here. Yeah. It's probably not very good being here. It's a pretty high-stress situation. We're between a demonstration, the Iranian embassy, and another embassy. This is a couple of days before Eid, before the Islamic holiday of Eid, and there are suicide bombers going off all the time right now in Kabul. It's really a very dangerous time to be here. No problem.
Yama is my new fixer. He has a friend who, he claims, will certainly know about the treasure, currently valued at $500 billion. We have to go back to Mazar-e-Sharif to meet him. Was it a wild goose chase, or was Yama actually going to deliver? Yama's friend, Reza, exceeded all expectations. At 24, he was a respected archaeologist working with the Afghan Ministry of Culture. To prove it, he took me to the ruins of the oldest mosque ever constructed in Afghanistan. It dated from the early days of Islam in Central Asia.
And because of this points,
This is a Buddhist symbol as well.
Yeah.
But this is an Islamic mosque. So why are there Buddhist symbols all over this
So this
mosque?
show us that the first architecture, Islamic architecture, came from the Buddhists and continued in the during of the time.
As a Hazara, he had a special interest in the Buddhist history of Afghanistan. Reza even claimed that the octagonal design, which is so common in mosques all over the world, actually traveled from northern Afghanistan to other Muslim countries.
Islamic art.
There was no question how valuable Reza could be for my quest, but my concern was whether I'd be able to get him on board as a key member of my team. Luckily, Reza needed no persuasion to join me. He said he wanted to show me something that could help us.
I think, and my idea is a horse in here that show you that you must go from by horse. So it shows us that the road is very hard to going up, and you will find some steps in here in the mountain maybe.
Right.
But this is the side of the show you must go in right, not left. the flower victory came from the Buddhist. Buddhist, yeah.
Do you think there's Buddhist
Because,
influence in this carpet?
Yeah, because this is the Kushani sign, like an S.
And this, I mean, in the center, this
Yeah, the center of that.
wiggly.
Yeah,
thing.
maybe. But this show us maybe is in the room, something in the room, yeah.
Reza believed that the rooms represented key chambers within a cave system, like the rock-hewn Buddhist monastery I was hoping to find. At the hotel, Reza shared his information. He said the area to concentrate on was in central Afghanistan and not without risk.
It is dangerous for going, but for me, no.
Can you bring us?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I can go by myself.
I understand, yeah.
Are there other caves there?
Yeah, there's the very big caves in this.
I think he's great, and more than anything, he's the first person we've met in this country who actually knows the history.
Yeah.
I mean, and boy, does he know the history. He really knows the history, and he knows every period and every name and every. I mean, it's very unlikely and exciting.
I think Ahmad Shah put his treasure in Bamiyan.
In Bamiyan.
I think, yeah.
Bamiyan was safe.
Bamiyan is safe, yeah. And the Bamiyan is a Solomon's mountain, you know?
As I was to learn, the route was known locally as the Blood Bath Alley. We were going to the Bamiyan Valley. To get there, we would have to pass down a road where bandit attacks were the norm, especially in the hours of darkness. We loaded our convoy of vehicles at 4 in the morning to make sure we weren't caught in Bloodbath Alley at night.
From now on, I'm taking security very, very seriously, okay? Everyone can laugh at me, whatever, but I'm taking it very seriously. If anyone wants to undermine the security I'm gonna suggest, I'm gonna step back, okay? And only go ahead if these security measures are in place. And that's gonna include people with guns, it's gonna include going slowly, not camping out in the open but staying near villages. Sure, we can have tents, but we're going to stay near villages, okay? I've just read a long report on Reuters what happened to the Germans. They were German people exactly like us. They were not working in television, but they were radio. There were 3 of them. They were all shot dead, and their security people were overpowered. I don't know if that means they were shot dead as well. It's exactly between Baghlan and Bamiyan, okay? It's an incredibly dangerous area. You type Bamiyan Baghlan Road and Bamiyan and between Bamiyan and Bandimir on Reuters, and it churns out stuff. It's very, very dangerous.
We had to cover an 18-hour drive in 12 or risk getting a bullet in the head like the German radio team had got the day before. The road was astonishingly rough. We had no option but to push on. Suddenly in the afternoon, we ran into a roadblock. A truck had broken down and there was a queue half a mile long. We were sitting ducks, easy targets for bandits or the Taliban. But then, to my great relief, the drivers began to squeeze through, crawling along the precipitous shoulder.
Oh, very good.
We had lost valuable time. How would we ever make it to Bamiyan before nightfall?
We made it to Bamiyan. 12-hour drive. Now we just have to find the treasure caves, that's all. So we're gonna sleep here tonight and then start looking for caves in the morning. See what we can find with Reza.
morning I had to get my bearings, so we went up to the wall where the giant Buddhas used to stand.
That's Bamyan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Buddha in here, because we are in the center.
So this is the giant Buddha up there? Okay.
And the small Buddha in here.
Okay. Okay, so the treasure of Ahmed Shah Durrani and Nadir Shah, when they came all the way to Delhi, they sacked Delhi, and then they started here with the huge treasure.
Yeah.
And they moved...
From the way, because that was the main way.
Right.
Yeah. And from Kabul into Bamyan.
So you're saying that the treasure of Ahmed Shah Durrani would have passed on its way to Iran from India. It would have passed right here. You're saying the treasure caravan with millions and millions of gold coins and rubies and emeralds and the peacock throne and the Kohinoor diamond, it all came right past here. I mean, can you imagine the sight? Can you imagine what it looked like? If you came from Kandahar, why would you not hide your treasure there?
Kandahar was a capital, and every king that know that that the capital is safe, but for sometimes not safe. You know, it happens after the Ahmad Shah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
But after, okay. So you're saying, if you were the king of Afghanistan, the very worst place to hide your treasure is in your capital city, right? Because, are you saying because another army will come and kill everyone and take the treasure?
Yeah.
So excellent.
Yeah,
okay.
I sent it into unsecret, to unknown, and very far.
Okay, this is excellent.
Yeah.
No, this is exactly the kind of way I'm thinking. The same frequency as me, Riza.
In the winter? Oh no.
We decided to take a closer look inside the catacombs, behind the niches where the giant Buddhas stood before the Taliban destroyed them.
This was a whole labyrinth. I mean, this was the kind of thing I'm looking for. But obviously, the treasure of Ahmed Shah wasn't hidden at the Bamyan Buddhas. So I'm going to slip back.
In here, just in here. And you can see.
Their rock-carved structures were the sort of systems I was hoping to find.
How far over the ground over here?
From here? 58 meters.
Afghanistan's a very dangerous country, but the last thing I want to do is fall through the hole where the Buddha used to be. Okay, go ahead.
If the giant Buddhas had been part of an extensive center of Buddhist worship, then it stood to reason that somewhere in the valley, not far from the Buddhas, was a lost monastic cave complex.
This is the valley which runs parallel to the Bamyan Valley. And in the time of the Buddhist monks, the time of the Buddhas, there was a huge culture here. And it makes absolute sense that the monastery would have been in the next valley. Reza, I think we come back because there are houses there. This is a village. This isn't... We're not going to find any treasure caves right next to a village.
Hard because there is not any way to come in.
I was growing impatient. While he knew the history, Reza wouldn't ask the local people about the treasure. But ultimately, we heard of a huge cave hidden in the mountain above the village.
There's a very sudden change in temperature. It's freezing here. That's it. It's yet another red herring. Doesn't lead anywhere at all.
Reza said that searching for treasure was illegal in modern Afghanistan. His concern about being reported for being treasure hunters was compounded by his worry that the locals would loot any site we did find.
Ahmad Shah's treasure in here. After one day, you can see all the people of Bamyan or other provinces of Afghanistan will come to here and will digging and will.
But then they might actually find the treasure.
Yeah, right, but it's a very big problem.
Why?
For the government, for the other people.
Why? But it's not our problem. Why is it a big problem if everybody comes and searches for the treasure?
As he kept reminding me, there's a thriving east-west trade in illicit Afghan antiquities. Reza showed me smaller and smaller caves, and however hard I begged him, he refused to question local people about the treasure. I began to feel he was deliberately keeping something from me, as if he knew much more than he was letting on. Was he only humoring me, or did I really have Reza on my side?
Very beautiful place.
After a long discussion with Reza, I persuaded him to accompany me in search of the cave he had mentioned at the hotel in Mazar when we first met. He said the journey would take us beyond the Bamiyan Valley and would be dangerous in the extreme. Despite the ever-increasing danger, the team's spirits were high.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go!
Most Afghans have never lived without danger. Leaving the relative safety of the central Bamiyan Valley, which is patrolled by New Zealand soldiers, we moved into the high plateau of central Afghanistan. As if it were possible, the road got far worse than it had been en route to Bamiyan. After a day of travel, we were less than halfway to the destination. But to my relief, we reached a small village just before sunset. We were welcomed with customary Afghan hospitality and taken to stay in the village hall. With the threat of bandit attacks, I had hired a handful of soldiers for security. After feasting on pilau, the guards told me they had heard of caves nearby. I was eager to hear what they knew, but Reza forbid me to mention the treasure directly.
He heard the story that if there's snakes, there's treasure. Oh, that's okay to ask.
It's early, I think. Because now they are...
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good now.
Alright.
It's not good now, yeah.
You're holding me back.
Yeah.
You're holding me back now.
It's not good. So I told them, not treasure. I told them just a bear, or just a lion, or just a animal. Yeah, animals, yeah? Not the treasure.
Time to look for the treasure. Time to find the treasure. Over the next day, the terrain became increasingly inhospitable. The road got worse and worse until you could hardly call it a road at all. I just knew it was my duty to keep the team going.
Very good.
As we began to pitch camp on the banks of the mysterious Lake Bandi Amir, a storm was brewing. The freezing wind tore down the tents, as if warning us that the expedition didn't belong there. The team finally discovered a way of preventing the wind from tearing down the tents.
The guys have asked if we can have some kind of ritual, so I'm going along with it, and we've bought them a sheep. It's kind of a ritual so that we get good luck and we find the gold of Ahmed Shah.
Yama slaughtered the animal swiftly, according to Afghan tradition. I lost my appetite. The guys couldn't understand why I didn't want to eat the meat.
Sorry. No, I'm okay. I'm not eating.
Yama and the others kept going until they had devoured the entire animal. They even cracked the bones and sucked out the marrow. The hostile environment didn't bother them at all. I went to sit by the fire, dreading the cold night ahead, sleeping under canvas. The next day was going to be my last chance to search for the treasure. However tough Reza, Yama and the others were, I knew I wouldn't be able to keep them with me for much longer. We broke camp early and started the last push towards the mountains and the cave. To be able to negotiate the mountain passes, we had to abandon the vehicles and continue on horseback. There was no way of stopping Yama showing off his buzkashi tricks.
He's been doing the buzkashi movement He thinks I'm a Buzkashi rider, and he's got it all wrong.
The incline grew steeper and steeper, so much so we were forced to abandon the horses too and continue on foot.
We're up at 3,220 meters.
The near vertical scramble was hard, and the midday sun made the climb all the harder. The altitude and thin air just added to the difficulties. But the climb was worth it.
So here's the cave. Go ahead.
As we reached the top of the mountain ridge, we caught a glimpse of the cave opening. It was like a giant mouth. I stumbled inside, mesmerized. It was just like the cave I'd heard about as a child, in the stories my father told again and again.
Wow.
He's finding pottery.
Yeah, that's pre-Islamic. But that's very old pottery.
Per-Islamic, yeah.
This is a very big cave.
Yeah.
It really goes very far back. Just into the mountain. It's exactly what I'm looking for. We're drowning in dust. It's like flour. Okay, it's getting narrower now. But it just goes back just miles into the mountain. Wow, this is incredible.
Oh, wow. Very deep.
Yeah, it just goes back further and further and further. Oh my god. And it just falls away into nothingness. Bits of big pottery here though.
Yeah.
And that's show me.
It's per-Islamic. It's Buddhic, yeah. Light, keep lighting. Yeah. It's like this. Yeah?
It's the bowl
It's a
of
bowl,
a
yeah.
big. Okay, now it gets really narrow.
The other passage has a big room after the narrow way.
After the narrow way.
Yeah. So we can, but it's very hard for...
To crawl through. I'm willing to go on. I mean, we found another passageway. John? Which way have you gone, Reza?
I'm here.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Here's my life.
Okay, I can see it. Here it comes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is as good as it gets. I mean, there's just passages leading everywhere here. Holy moly. This is amazing. Oh, God. There's one passage there. There's another there.
Oh, yes, the skeleton, wow.
Holy okay,
Whoa.
David, you've got to get in here, buddy.
David.
I'm on my way.
There's a human skeleton.
Yeah, 2 skeletons in here.
Okay, where's the skull?
Yeah, in here.
Just shine your light on.
1, 2. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, wow. My God, here's the graveyard, the tire.
But...
Yeah, graveyard. I think many soldiers or people were killed in here. Because just ahead of them, yeah.
Maybe Ahmed Shah Durrani's soldiers.
I was very moved to be in a place where so many people had obviously lost their lives. People I could only assume had been Ahmed Shah's guards.
So here it looks like someone's killed him. It seems very possible that this system is part of a much bigger cave system. That it goes back way, way into the mountain. But this passageway has been blocked by a rock fall.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I mean, we're deep in the mountain now. And the way back, we've got no climbing equipment. We're pretty badly prepared. We've got no crash helmets.
I felt certain we had at last discovered the location of the treasure. Everything pointed to it. The skulls, the Buddhist pottery, the location, and its sheer inaccessibility. But going deeper into the labyrinth would be suicide without professional caving equipment. We needed oxygen too, and an emergency backup. Even if I could muster a better equipped expedition, I knew that the Afghan authorities would block me, not to mention the deteriorating security situation that was severely stacked against me. I sensed that my window of opportunity was slamming shut. It was now time for me to add my information to the notebook, and to leave the clues I'd come up with for the coming generation, so that my own children could find Afghanistan for themselves and continue the search. By the time they're ready to set out, I can only hope that our ancestral homeland is more peaceful. I can't be certain if someone's already beaten me to the treasure of Ahmed Shah, but after 39 years, I felt as if I'd seen part of the treasure with my own eyes, my Afghan homeland.
Are you going to go look for treasure in Afghanistan when you get older?
Yeah, I'll find the treasure.